You ever wondered which PFL or Bellator fighters could actually have a chance in the UFC? In this video, I'm going to be telling you the most popular outside the UFC fighters who are actually good enough to compete for a title and tell you whether they could. This is for the weird hardcores I still kind of see in comment sections that talk about PFL and Bellator. It's definitely died down ever since all these PFL and Bellator fighters have lost to these Russian dudes recently. And so all these guys have kind of died down. But in this video, I'm just here to set the record straight to, you know, kind of be realistic about what these Bellator and PFL fighters could do. Honestly, I think I'm more optimistic than most about these guys. I was kind of like realistic with my rankings. I'm not like, completely like disregarding these guys, but let's just hop right into it. Now, I know DJ's just retired and he's not a PFL or Bellator fighter, but this criteria, that's not why you clicked on this video. So I give DJ's chances for the belt a B+. The thing is, I do think he beats every single person outside of the rankings other than Pantoja. And I know Pantoja's not that, like, crazy skill-wise ahead of everyone else in the division, but I just think Pantoja's kind of a nightmare matchup for DJ. I think just granite chin wrestler who can kind of just control you is kind of DJ's weakness, and at this point he would be 38 going into the UFC if this hypothetical would happen. And I just think in that matchup, I know DJ's really slick with his counters, and Pantoja wouldn't be able to do his constant just run at him like fuck it, just like Dricus du Plessis, just 1-2 1-2 over and over. And I do think he would probably keep it more technical with DJ, but I just think a strong wrestler with a granite chin against DJ is just it's kind of a nightmare matchup against him. Even though I don't know, I think DJ would beat every other fighter. His speed has definitely decreased and his power's definitely not there. But the thing about DJ, you can never count him out in like any flyweight fight because he's just crazy talented and just like everything. Like I know that's not fucking shocking news like to anyone, but DJ, I think he would beat literally anyone. I have top contender ranked 1 to 3 just because like I don't think he would win the belt. I think he would lose to a Pantoja, even like a Figueiredo right now. I think he would lose to if that hypothetical. I'm just throwing up matchups, but yeah, DJ. I think you can never really count him out. So I have him at a B+. Now, I kind of categorize these guys as the same person because they kind of are when you think about it now. I know in that Renan Ferreira versus Ngannou fight, Ngannou controlled him on the floor and that was the fight, but let's say there was no wrestling involved and they were just striking, like they're just going to swing wild hooks at each other. And the thing is, I give them a B- in their chances of being a champion. I think a lot of people think that's shocking. I think especially with Ngannou because I think a lot of people are just saying like Tom Aspinall and Ngannou are the best heavyweights in the world, and oh, imagine if that fight happened. And I do agree that that fight would be sick. I just think Ngannou recently, when you've seen him wrestle, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, what? He's just showing off a new versatile like thing in his game, and it's just the easier way. But I think we've seen a lot more of his wrestling because he knows it's a lot easier, and I think he knows how he's taking a little bit of a slower step. He's not the same guy who's able to take the same punches, getting flatlined by Anthony Joshua. And just in those boxing fights, I know it's more technical and boxing is a different thing, but I just think he's been looking slower in a lot of his fights. In the Renan Ferreira fight, like, he kind of used to look a little more agile. Like, he had a little more, like, pop out of like his like explosions. But recently I know we saw a very short sample size with that Ferreira fight, but I just don't think he would have the capabilities to beat Aspinall or even Gone, to be honest. Ferreira the same. I just think Ferreira is pretty much Francis Ngannou. So just categorize everything I'm saying with Ngannou to Ferreira. And I think the thing about these both of these guys is that they're just genetic freaks that would absolutely murk any single person who's outside the rankings with no danger. Like, if you put, I was like, used to watch like a lot of Tracy videos and he used to just like undermine like Renan Ferreira. And I completely get it. He really hasn't beat anyone other than Ryan Bader. But you're telling me Renan Ferreira with just 6'6" genetics who's built wouldn't beat like a Romanov or like a Marcin Tybura? Like, come on, dude. Like, the thing about these guys is like heavyweight's not that skilled, so these guys would be top contenders. I don't think they would beat the top pinnacle of heavyweight, but you would definitely see them up there. I give their chances a B minus. Maybe Brennan Fraser a C plus and Ngannou a B minus, but I don't know. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people are overrating Ngannou. I think Brennan Fraser and Ngannou are pretty much the same person. Ngannou's using it, like, a lot of people are impressed by his wrestling recently. But, like, let's be honest. Like, I was pissed when I saw Ngannou start wrestling Brennan Fraser. I was expecting, like, some, like, Godzilla versus, like, King Kong. Not in, like, a racial way, but, like, just, like, in, like, a fighting way. Just, like, a clash between two, like, big dudes. And it was just, like, Ngannou's, like, basic-ass wrestling winning. And it was just, like, it was lame. But, yeah, that's my spiel about that. But a B minus is a fair grade for that. Now, this one, Patchy Mix, you know, this is the guy I think hardcores have the biggest fit about, and the biggest, oh, this guy is next up. This guy would beat Sean O'Malley. And watching Patchy Mix, especially in his last fight, and I know his last fight was one of his worst showings, and there was other times where he's, did you see that Sergio Pettis win, dude? And it's like, please God, tell me this low battery isn't that bad. Okay, 10 bet. And it's like, yeah, have you seen the Patchy, or the, and the Pettis win? Yeah, you know what I said. And it's like, yeah, that was really cool, and it was, like, really good that happened, but he's facing undangerous grapplers at this bantamweight division at Bellator, which is so ass. Like, he's fighting these, like, the Magomedov dude. He just fight. He was his hardest competition by far. And he was just the average kind of Merab striker where he's just lunging in and absolutely no success on the ground. And the thing about Patchy Mix, he's a dominant grappler, but whenever he faces grapplers, he's unable to, like, do anything. And the way he kind of wins his fights is just by weird scrambles and then finding these guillotines and kind of these, like, crucifix and just, like, not crucifix, but fucking, what is that move called? These, like, Darce chokes and stuff. But the thing about Patchy Mix, he's just really flat-footed on the feet. Like, whenever you watch him, he'll only throw in one-strike combinations where his leg kicks will kind of be decent, but, like, his strikes really don't look like they have any zing on him. He's kind of just, like, shadow boxing at a point, because, like, none of these things are, like, with the intention of knocking the opponent out. But yeah, just watching Patchy Mix, I just see someone who's, like, extremely undangerous, who has good submission ability, but he doesn't really have the takedowns and the dominant ability to get to the floor. So the only way he'll be able to get there is, like, by facing kind of a mid grappler who tries him for some reason or does a stupid mistake and just, like, puts his neck out there. And even though I think he's okay, and I don't think he would get absolutely smoked in the UFC, like, I think people who, like, think he would be, like, unranked, it's kind of crazy. But when looking at the top 10 at, like, bantamweight, like, there's not a lot of names you would say lose to Patchy Mix. Like, Cheeto Vera was, like, one name where I could, like, see maybe if, like, Cheeto had an off night on the feet and, like, I don't know, did something stupid. But when you look at the bantamweight rankings, there's so many killers, and just, like, Patchy Mix is so mid compared to him. And I know his wins against, like, Sergio Pettis were good, but it's Sergio Pettis. And in my opinion, if he went to the UFC, he would get imposed all over. He would just, I don't think he would get like, taken down a bunch. I think he would just get knocked out by, like, some, like, Song Yadong type fool. And I think he would just be, like, a 10 to 15 ranked guy, maybe falling out of the rankings. Like, you can't tell me this guy isn't, like, an Adrian Yanez type. He's just, like, falling in and out. Like, I don't know. That's where I would see his ceiling at. But now to my last fighter. She's I kind of forgot her name. Shoot, I wanna make myself look like a hardcore, but, like, yeah, I forgot her name, but she's this PFL fighter who it's Mikila Majajik or something, bro. Don't quote me on that. But this is I actually gotta find the name of this fighter, bro, real quick. PFL woman fighter. Oh, Dakota Jacevic. Bet. Okay. So yeah, this is Dakota Jacevic, and she's an actual interesting UFC, or not UFC, but women's prospect who is able to knock out her opponents. And the thing that I appreciate about her is that she doesn't leave herself open. It's not going to be another Wang Kong situation where you get your hopes up by this women prospect and you're just like, oh shit, she got knocked out because she's just swinging hooks at her and she got too comfortable. The thing that I like about Dakota is that she uses her teep kicks as like kind of her jab, and it's kind of like throughout her fights you just see her opponents kind of melt. And I know it's PFL women, but dude, it's like UFC women fighters aren't like crazy different than like PFL women. Like it's all kind of the same shit. She just knocked out Talia Santos, who is pretty similar to just like normal like top 15 UFC competition. And the thing that I appreciate about her is that she actually has intentions of hurting her opponent. I feel like a lot of UFC fighters are just sparring the air, or women kind of especially. Sorry, but it's true. I feel like a lot of them just kind of like feign at range, and they're kind of just doing their weird shtick, and they're not really trying to like fight or hurt their opponent. It's not really a fight. It's just kind of like a point match. Like I feel like a lot of coaches like put that mindset in their like fighter, but what she does is actually goes for KOs. She has nasty knees in the clinch. Her clinch game is crazy. And I just think she would be able to outstrike Valentina Shevchenko. I do think her wrestling is a little bit of a problem. She has gotten taken down by a PFL fighter, and getting taken down in general by any PFL fighter just gives me any worry. So I gotta stop. Yeah, amen. But yeah, she would be champ because Valentina Shevchenko is kind of a mid-champion, and I just think her ability to mix it up, and I think she would be able to get up. So yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll get back to you in another date, my friend.